Hi everyone, my name is Tanguy. I'm the co-founder and the chairman of Lizzy. It's a real pleasure to be here today. I'm from France, as you can hear my accent. So excuse my French, as we say. And today I'll be super happy to talk about the rise of circular business model in retail. It's a very hot topic in the circular retail industry, and this is what we're trying to tackle. I will talk very little of who we are at Lizzy, even though a little bit, but the goal here is to give you more information about the issues of retail, why circular economy, what are why the future can be bright in this industry. So actually, I'm going to jump on the presentation, but this is basically the agenda for today. First, I will talk about the state of retail, how polluting is the retail industry on the planet. Then we will talk of the consumer shift, which will lead to obviously the solution, but we are the solution, we consumers. We are being more and more aware of the impact of consuming, of our consumption on the daily basis. And we are leading to solutions, and obviously it's just one of them. Then we will talk about the circular economy applied to the retail industry. We will talk about the new circular business models, rental, resale, subscription, and we will talk very briefly on why the COVID-19 might be a good opportunity for those business models. And then I will very quickly tell you how we are trying to build a more sustainable retail with the company we co-founded 3 years ago, which is Lizzy. And I will be more than happy to spend some time to answer all the questions. I hope there will be tons of them. So let's start with the state of retail. So the question I usually ask is, why is retail a major polluting industry? I'm not sure we can answer with all of you guys here today, but there are many different reasons. Today, retail has become the second most polluting industry. It is more polluting than the boat transportation and the plane transportation combined together. It is just an absolute nightmare for different reasons. Obviously, we keep overproducing. Brands today keep overproducing, which leads to overconsumption. Especially, we talk about the fast fashion companies like Zara, H&M, Primark being the worst, of course. But we keep producing. We keep pushing consumer to buy at a very cheap prices, which obviously is a problem, because if it's cheap, it means that we use synthetic fibers, which are super polluting, that end up all the time with micro particles in the sea. So the use of bad fibers, of bad fabrics is obviously a huge issue. To buy cheap cotton to build the clothes that we wear on a daily basis, obviously you need to overproduce cotton. So we use pesticides that pollute the soil, that at the very end pollute all the oceans, all the rivers out there. Transportation is a very little portion of the issue, but it still represents 7% of the impact of, for example, a sweater before it arrives in the store. 7% of the impact, the carbon emissions are at the transport level. So it's rather low. Really, most of the impact is done at the consumption, at the manufacturing of the goods. Energy, obviously, when you manufacture a product, you need energy to power your manufacturing, to power those vehicles that will transport your goods, to power your stores, to power your warehouses. So you need a lot of energy. And at the very end, the big problem is us. We keep buying stuff that we don't use. Obviously, there are no planet B. Consumers start to know it, and we need to change, and brands and retailers need to change. Even fast fashion retailer like H&M are going really in the right direction, trying to transform who they are. Talking about fast fashion, just to give you a sense, a company like Zara, they produce 24 collections a year. If you look at the regular, which is a medium luxury industry, in fashion, there are 4 collections for every season. Zara, they churn the products in their store twice a month. So yeah, nonsense, I would say. So those basically are the big issues, I would say, the main issues in the retail industry today. So there are solutions, which is a good news. I'm not here to just say that we are done. There are no planet B, but it's still time to do something about it. There are tons of solutions. I just listed some of them that I think are the most relevant in the retail space. Eco-designing. Today, we are still producing goods for the linear selling model. So products are basically used once. We strive to make them better so they can last longer. But tomorrow, we have this conviction that the goods will last much longer, and then we will help, brands will help to remanufacture, to rebuild from those goods so they can last much longer. Also, more and more, even in cheap companies, cheap products, we can see that there are certifications. We use natural fibers. We use cottons, which is organic, and this is obviously great because it doesn't pollute the soil at some point. We also strive, especially the big groups now, to use renewable energies. I just saw this new huge distribution center of PVH. PVH, it's Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, that is powered 100% with renewable energy. So there are solar panels on top of their building. It means they don't take energy outside from what they already produce themselves. Local production, obviously, with the COVID and the sourcing issues, it's a big topic. Brands try to bring back their production to Europe, even in the Eastern countries or in Portugal a lot, which obviously make sense, not necessarily just on a sustainable basis, but on a social basis as well. Also, they are trying to take chemicals out of the goods. They are trying to use new ways of vehicles to transport their merchandise, like hybrid technologies. They're also trying to plan better their logistic and transportation instead of having like 10 trucks that go from one place to another. They might be only 5 trucks in the month, but they are full because most of the trucks today are empty all the time. Also, less collections. I think it's Balenciaga that just announced a year ago that they will stop 4 collections. They just do 2 anymore. So obviously, going from 24 collection at Zara would make sense just to go at 12, like did H&M. H&M, it's still 1 collection a month, but they rather reduce this number. Also, building awareness to the consumers, buy less and better, and mend your clothes. It's not because there is a hole in your jean that it's dead. Just mend it, repair it, alterations. So it's really they have a role, those players, those retail brands, to help the consumer understand what's their impact when they buy a pair of jeans. They have to be more transparent. There are laws actually that oblige them to be more transparent. In France, we just actually released a law last year, the 31st of December 2021, where now products that haven't been sold in the stores cannot be destroyed anymore. It's a very good beginning, and governments are more and more making it an obligation to be transparent, to push the awareness of the consumers. Circular business model, obviously, is a good point, also a good starting point for brands to optimize the garment use and extend the product lifespan. Today, a product, a jean, for example, is a resource which is not unlimited. It's made of cotton. It allows to build a jean, you need 20,000 liters of water for 1 pair of jeans. So obviously, if you can grow the usage of this pair of jeans instead of few usage, well, it makes sense for the planet. And also the end of life of products. Sometimes a product just cannot be worn anymore. Then you can transform it. You can use it, upcycle it, or recycle it. And there are tons of companies that are flourishing around the world that use the materials from those products to build different type of products, for example, isolation fibers for the buildings out there. So consumer shift. Also, the question I like to ask is who's buying or renting? Who did that last year in 2021? Usually, very little people actually reply that they did. But if you think about it, you all go on Airbnb. The functional economy is something that is rising. You all book an Uber to go from point A to point B instead of using your own car. So this is the new behaviors of the consumers. And today, I just wanted to touch base on this consumer shift. Why consumers are shifting and why, we'll talk later about it, why the pandemic accelerated the shift. Consumers today, they want to be driven by sustainability. It become a big topic. They have to make sustainability in their life a topic. And it's not just the millennials, it's everyone. 80% of the consumer, and that's actually a KPI from KPMG, 80% of consumers today, for two products that are similar, will choose the company that have a sustainable approach. You don't have to be perfect, but you just have to say that you are doing something for the better. So they are more and more mindful, and that's obviously a very good news because these consumers are driving the change in retail organization. Younger consumers are definitely looking for variety. If you buy and you have like a limited budget, at some point you have to stop buying. So you will wear the same products all the time. The millennials today, they want to live experiences. They don't really care about owning anymore. They want to be seen on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, with new products all the time. It's like a show-off world that they are living in and that they are growing in. And obviously, when you start renting or when you buy products secondhand, you will spend less money at the very same time. So you can rent or you can subscribe to your best brand, your favorite brand, and change your wardrobe every month. Also, there is subscription e-commerce, which is a good way to engage consumers and where they can seek for variety, as I just said, because there might be a curation that will help you dress correctly and impress in society. There are companies like Rent the Runway in the States, which is amazing, providing hundreds of brands on demand, so you don't have to buy your clothes anymore. You can just subscribe, and every week just get the new clothes you want. And just shine in society. And obviously, affordability, when you buy secondhand, when you rent, again, you will buy less expensive products, and at the very end, you will enjoy more. So it's own less, wear more. The shift happened in different industries before really the fashion and the retail industry. If you think about it, you don't buy music anymore. You just subscribe and you have access to unlimited music on Spotify. It's the same with Uber. It's the same with the scooters in cities like Lime. Cars sharing, same. You don't buy a car anymore. You just share a fleet of cars that is available around you. You don't necessarily buy houses for your vacation. You just rent it. Netflix is exactly the same. And in France, there is this company which is interesting. It's June. They offer on demand, like you subscribe to diapers for your babies. So you don't go to the store anymore to buy diapers. You just subscribe, and according to your consumption, every month you will receive the right box with the right number of diapers. It's an interesting case, and it's coming to everything. Everything will be tomorrow on demand. It's obviously super interesting for the brands as well. So circular economy in retail. So the question I like to ask here is, who's the world's best circular economy player? Who is producing absolutely no waste at all? Obviously, it's not us humans, but it's Mother Nature. If you think about it, everything in the nature is built at some point and die at some point and create resources for something different. In this forest, the rain will be transformed into trees. The trees will create leaf. The leaf will fall. The leaf, that has fallen will create pits to grow a new tree tomorrow, thanks to the water. So everything is fully circular, and that's obviously the concept of the circular economy. It's going from linear make waste, where we take natural resources, we transform them, we make products out of it, we use it, and then we dispose. And when you know that 87% of the product in fashion, for example, that you buy are not recycled after and end up in landfills with all the plastic and the polymer fibers that they have, it's a problem. So obviously, the goal in retail is to go from, like to go to the circular economy, where raw materials allow you to design products that will be that will be sold or rent or resell in the retail channel. Sorry, then it will be used. Then after, you will be able to take back this product, to recycle it, or to make it available again for another user, and to design goods, new goods with it. I just want to show you a few examples of companies that really inspire me in this field. There is in the fashion space, Mud Jean. It's a Dutch company based, I think it's Dutch, yes. I think they are in the Netherlands. They are making jean with old jeans. So they take your old jean and they make a new jeans with it, and amazing jeans. And you can just subscribe, and every year or every 2 years, you can just send them back and collect a new jean. And they are just amazing. Their design are amazing. I really encourage you to go at least check their website. It's a really good company, and they take basically your old jeans to create new jeans, reducing the impact big time on the blue jeans that you wear. Fairphone, it's another Dutch company. I'm half French, half Dutch, actually, so that's why I have some good examples out there, and they're really good and quite advanced in their thought of the circular economy. Fairphone, they basically took an industry, which is the phone industry, the hardware. They create really the hardware, the device, and they thought that today we encourage you, when you buy an iPhone, for example, to change your iPhone every year, every 2 years, which obviously is not sustainable at all. So they said, actually, why people are changing their phone all the time is just because sometimes their battery is dead, or because their camera is dead, because like a little component of your phone is dead. So why changing the whole device when you can just change a little component of it, like the camera? And they created a phone which is, I believe, 85% repairable. So you can just buy on their website a few pieces, and they tell you how to change it yourself. So you can keep the same device for years, really years, like 10 years. You will just have to change the components, and yeah, it's quite game changing for this industry, and they are running on Android. Another one that I like, very different, but it's Pinatex. It's a Spanish company that use the pineapple leaf fiber. So something that today is useless. They take those pineapple leaf, to create a new leather, a new material for the retail industry, with what you will be able to buy, to use, to create clothing, to create bags, to create accessories. So again, it's a nice circular project that I like to talk about. So circular business model. There are few. Actually, there are two big, I would say, main circular business model in retail. Obviously, the second hand is the one that everybody know, because I mean, it's been years that there are thrift stores down the streets that are collecting and selling products locally, physically in the stores. But some players really changed the game of the second-hand industry. Obviously, Vinted, that you all know, Vinted is just making it super cool, making it so seamless, so easy from your couch to really buy a product second-hand. And every millennials today are using Vinted to buy, to sell. Sometimes they even make money. They buy products that they sell cheaper, more expensive, sorry. And they are actually doing that to change their wardrobe all the time. And that's Vinted, but there are other in the luxury field. There is Vestiaire Collective. There are brands like Patagonia that created wornwear, where they take back their products, transform them to sell a new goods from Patagonia at a fraction of the price. So brands are going really towards the resale big time. It's an industry that grows super fast, 21 times actually faster than the traditional retail industry. It's a market actually. Here it is saying that by 2023 it will represent a 50 billion market size. If I update the number, it's actually 70 billion, and it's the same study from a company in the US that is called ThredUp. So the perception of used goods has really changed, and that's obviously for the better, and technology is making that change possible. So it's a market which is quite fragmented. So you will see brands trying to go towards secondhand, but it's a little hard because there are like pure players like Vinted that really kill the market. On the other hand, you have the rental and the subscription, I would say, rental space. It's quite new. I mean, everybody in his life at some point rent something, an apartment again, or rent a pair of skis, or rent a kayak to go in a river. But it's very locally, it's very physical, it's very like small, the market. Again, technology is taking this market to a whole new level. There are platforms, B2C, multi-brands like Rent the Runway, which I talked about earlier today, which is now a unicorn in the States, that are making the market and the model thriving. But there are also brands that today are going from selling to renting. And I will talk about those that we are working with, but it's a very interesting model. So we push this model big time because today there are data which are sad, but 50% of the product in retail that today we buy, we don't use them. Okay, so it doesn't make sense, but sometimes they are so cheap that you buy them because, okay, it doesn't harm really to buy it. So I just buy it, but I will never use it. So there is also a shift, as I said earlier, from demand over accessory over ownership. So you rather use rather than own. Owning is really something that is disappearing in the need, the Maslow need of millennials at least. And it's a business model which is highly profitable because obviously one same good will churn enough to generate 3 times the revenue that you will make when you sell. For example, we rent a tent with some brands, the tents that cost 200 euro at the end of the subscription, at the end of the rental life of the good, we collect from the same product 600 euros. So again, it's super profitable while super also sustainable. We decrease the carbon emission with 1/10, for example, of more than 60%. Average in retail, I would say it's between 50-60% of carbon emission less. So obviously, it's sustainable, profitable. It makes absolute sense for people to go. I just wanted to show you some players because you might say, okay, that's something actually quite new, quite small. But if you look at this market, they are not all there, sorry, but here is a list of rental players and resale players. So you will see some big names, which obviously you know, and there are some in rental, there are some in resale, and it's growing. This list is growing like months after months, and it's a very good news, obviously. So of course, H&M is doing both resale and rental in some markets. There are companies like Nike, Adidas, Picture, Ralph Lauren, Eram in France, Petit Bateau, who are doing rental resale. It's amazing, and it really shows the trends and the direction of the market. And obviously, it's very good news for the planet, but also, of course, for Lizzie, who made their business around this e-commerce world. So about Lizzie, how we are positioning ourselves in this market, this circular economy in retail. So we created Lizzie 3 years ago with my co-founder, Anna. Anna, she is an engineer who created a company in 2013. She was the first European pioneer renting clothes for babies and pregnant women. She thought in 2013 that it would make sense to rent those things rather than buy them because your kids are growing so fast that you don't even have time sometimes to have them wear what you bought. So why not creating a brand and renting it? So it was a B2C brand, it was a brand. And then we went from a brand to a B2B software company, which is Lizzie. And why we created the company, you understood, it's really to help the major retail players in the world to go from linear to circular and to avoid the underusage of the products. So that's really in our DNA. We are trying to push rental and resale business model for the brands. We have a white label solution, so you will never see Lizzie somewhere. It's always a brand. For example, we are renting tent with Decathlon, the sporting good company. At Decathlon, you can wear a tent, trekking gears, camping gears. You can subscribe to bikes. This is not Lizzy. It's really Decathlon that allow this service with our technology. So we are a software as a service, a solution that allow a brand in 2 months to really launch those new business models. So good news, since we created the company 3 years ago, we met more than 300 brands, retailers, distributors, and today 90% of them want to go towards the circular economy and its new business model. So that's obviously a very good news. And you saw that the list of retailers is growing. But today they don't necessarily know how to address it because they have no experience or very little experience. I mean, re-commerce, circular economy is something which is quite new. Today, they are all selling products, not services. When you rent, for example, we don't really care about the product itself. You come for a functionality. You want to rent a tent? Fine. This is a tent. It's a perfect tent. You will enjoy it. I don't really care that it's from this year or from 3 years ago. So it's really service over products. And that's a mindset that needs to pivot. And it's quite hard for retailers and brands, especially the bigger they are, the slower the change is easy. And technically speaking, e-commerce solutions have been created to sell, not to resell or to rent. So technically it's complex. And if you look at the logistics, it's even more complex. Brands today, they either work with their own distribution center, their own warehouses, or they actually rely on third-party 3PLs, third-party distribution centers. Those distribution centers has been made same to fulfill orders from your stores or from e-commerce. So you buy a suite from Adidas, they send it to you in timing which is amazing, like in 2 days or sometimes even faster, they can deliver you. But at the very end, if you send the product back, sometime, unfortunately, it is cheaper for brands to destroy the goods rather than putting it back to the stock because the return management is still at its very early days. And when it comes to returns of goods that you actually wear when you rent, for example, or when you send a product that has been used before, you need to refurbish the product. And those workflows are not handled properly in the existing software. So that's why, obviously, we created Lizzy. We created a software that is called the Re-commerce Management System that help a brand to launch, pilot, and scale their best re-commerce offering, mixing rental in resale. And we do it in only 2 months. Brands today, they do it because they all have ESG goals. They need to improve their impact on the planet. And renting, reselling is a good way to improve this impact. Again, we can split by half the carbon emissions while reusing the same goods. But also, it can be super profitable for them. Again, we truly believe that if you don't mix sustainability and profitability, you will not go anywhere. Sustainability is great. However, there are shareholders behind every company in retail. They need to make money at the very end. So you need to combine the two, which is challenging. Brands, they also go towards resale, re-commerce, because today they have products that they haven't sold. They either can discount it, sometimes they can destroy it simply, but they can also use this stock again to create new services like rental. The people today who buy secondhand or the people who rent are not the people that buy. And that's very important. It's a very beautiful way to target new clients, potentially to bring them to your store if you have stores to click and collect the product. It's a good way also to increase what we call the customer lifetime value. If you provide like a subscription service, for example, you subscribe to the brand, and every month or every 2 months, you will receive new goods. And at the very end, you will spend much more in the brand than what you would spend if you just do a one-shot buying. And you collect tons of new data about your clients, about your products. And our goal, our dream really is that they use this data to tomorrow better eco-design the products. Our vision, sometimes we say that we are full to say that, but our vision is that within 20 years, we want to reduce by 2 the manufacturing of new product in retail. We will produce much less product. We will produce much better goods, the better quality, and we will optimize the usage of the products that are manufactured. And that's truly like the reusing component that we want to accelerate. So I'm not going to spend too much time technically of what we do, but we provide e-commerce and a logistic solution to brands and retailers to help them really launch and scale e-commerce software services in just a weeks. So we manage the full life cycle from first usage to 20th usage. We provide the full solution, logistic again, and e-commerce. And we tie to those services also recycling services, because obviously when your products are dead, they are just dead and they cannot be repaired sometime. You need to recycle them or upcycle them. So we connected a few partners worldwide that can take your merchandise to make a new thing out of it. So today, Lizzie, to give you who we are, where we are at. So we are a team of 25 change makers. We are working with about 20 brands in different industries. Sports, we work with Adidas, with Decathlon. We work in the kids industry, not necessarily just the clothes, but also like Petit Bateau. We work also with Cultura in France, who are renting musical instruments for kids. And we work also in the fashion industry with companies like Mage. You can just rent your dress, party dress. You have a party, you want like an amazing dress, you just rent it at 1/5 of the price. And you can change every week during the wedding season, for example, your outfit. We are launching many different projects, amazing this year, with other verticals. For example, we are about to launch a service of electronic products. So you will rent like a machine to make popcorn for a birthday party of your kid. So we have this belief that tomorrow you will be able to rent or to buy secondhand every single product straight from the brands. You want an Adidas product, you will be able to buy secondhand from Adidas, with, of course, the certainty that the products will be just in perfect condition. So we work across 20 countries today, in the Middle East, in Europe, mainly, and in the UK. She's not in the Europe anymore, unfortunately. We are part of a very powerful ecosystem. We see that the ecosystem around circular economy and retail is growing super fast, which is obviously a very good news again for all the players, all of you that want to go in the field. There are tons of opportunities at every step of the way of the supply chain and the product life cycle. That's obviously good news. So just about the pandemic, I just wanted to talk about it because I truly believe that, we saw that the clients who were live before the pandemic are doing much better after the pandemic. I'm not saying that during the lockdowns period it was easy for them and for us, but after, when, for example, the outdoor platforms were live, and after the pandemic, they all thrived, and the conversion rates went up and up and up and up and keep going up. So really, we believe that the pandemic accelerated the consumer shift because people had time to ask themselves, how the hell did we end up there? We use the time also to read maybe more. There are also activists like Greta Thunberg that kind of open the eyes of consumers on the real impact of things on the planet. So I think people now want to consume better products, to consume more locally, potentially to consume a little less. And obviously this leads to the behavior of consuming circular and make the thriving of circular business model like rental and resale. So yes, the pandemic, and we see it across all the retail verticals, electronics, fashion, sports, is an opportunity, and that's obviously a good news. Yeah, that's about it. I hope that you have tons of questions. I want to keep it's super open. You can tell me if you believe in it, if you hate it, if you think it makes sense, or if you have testimonials, experiences. Happy to answer any questions. So I guess they will go on the chat. The most eco-friendly fiber. I think cotton is a good one if it is well produced, but you can create fibers out of waste. And that, I think, to me, like natural waste, like as I said, Pinatex using pineapples waste to create new fibers. I think those are even more sustainable because you don't even have to grow them, they are already there. You use the resources that are already there. There is another company called uh, uh, something like Whisper, Green Whisper, based in India and in France. We are making lasers and fibers for the textile industry and paper industry out of like uh, waste from the bananas in India. So they are, it's a big economy in India. Bananas, they grow bananas, and there are tons of waste, and they are using those waste to basically make the new fiber. So the best fibers are obviously those that are already there, just need to be transformed. Are those models of sustainability also applicable outside the retail world? Of course, I mean, you can basically the circular economy. So we just talked about the circular economy in retail, but there are also ways to apply it to the energy, to every basically to every industry, to really every industry you can apply. The automobile industry to energy, I would say, is a good one. Like we are using more and more energies, but there are more and more ways to create green energies. So yeah, you can apply it to many different verticals for sure. So is it good to address more sustainable possible than a discount dress? You are less likely to throw it away without using it, reselling it. I don't think that a haute couture dress is necessarily more sustainable. Uh, Obviously, like Primark, they don't care today. They don't really care about sustainability. So yeah, haute couture, of course, they you buy because you think, at least you think that it's more sustainable, that you have more visibility. But there are companies like H&M again that offer very cheap products, but they are making those products out of recycled fibers, and so it's not necessarily, I would say, a price point criteria, but it's more the transparency that the brands will provide to you consumers on where this product is actually coming from, what was the energy necessary that was necessary to create this dress. Haute couture, the standards are necessarily higher, but there are companies like H&M who are going really the good way to make sustainable products at a very decent price. And the second question was about the reuse. Obviously, a haute couture dress also might be better designed, so it will last longer. But even still, I'm not sure about that. Sorry, the last question, I didn't see it. What about fashion? They are the one that keep changing the way we dress. We need less fashion. I agree. I mean, the fashion industry is the worst in retail for sure. Um, the most sustainable product are those that you already have, and that's why the only way really to make retail more sustainable at the very end and to save the planet somehow is really to reduce the production. We need to really split by two the number of products that are manufactured every year. Otherwise, I mean, you can still rent or buy second hands. If you keep consuming more, is not it's not going to change anything. So we need less fashion, absolutely. We need to reuse what we already have, and at the very end, again, produce less, optimize the usage of the new goods. What can I study to improve retail market sustainability? There are good trainings which are provided by different players. We are very close to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation in the UK that offer trainings and MOOC online trainings on the topic of sustainability. So I would say go check the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. They have amazing stuff to share with you guys. Personally preferred brand. Good one. I don't really have a preferred brand. It has to be Italian, I guess. No, I like a brand called Octobre Edition. It's from Cézanne. You might know Cézanne. It's a DNVB, a French DNVB, and they created like a brand for men called Octobre. They are trying to be sustainable. It's not the most sustainable brands. For men, to be honest, they are very little. There is no subscription services of clothing for men. There are tons for girls, not for men. So, so for men, yeah, it's there is no like there is big opportunities, I would say, but yeah, I would say October is a brand that I like. Any other question? All right, I guess that was the last one. I hope it was actually of interest for you guys. I'm just sharing. I see I have one more slide. Yeah, here actually these are good resources for you, so you can take a picture or print screen. But those are four, I think, very interesting studies if you want to go deeper in the retail sustainable field from Ellen MacArthur, obviously, but also Accenture made one in 2019 who was interesting, and the State of Fashion, which is a report that is going out every year from Business of Fashion and McKinsey. Every year they talk about it, so you can check the one from this year, from last year, 2 years ago. But yeah, the latest one, I would say the most interesting one is the one at the bottom left, which is the circular business model. The third one, the number 3. Those are good readings. You can definitely learn a lot about circular economy in retail with that. And that's my email address. So if you would like to ask questions, more questions down the road, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to answer. I'm not the fastest answerer, but I always answer at some point. Thank you very much. I guess that's it. Yeah. See you soon.